Hopefully we're back. I hope so. We back? I hope so. Back. Guess who's back? Back again. Trady's back. Alright. We back. Alright. Sorry about that. I'm not sure why that craps out. I really have to fix this problem. It really is bad. I'm gonna take off the latency part here. I'll have to play with the thing there. Okay. Okay. Whew. All right. Maybe I just latency. Maybe I just set that to none. Anyway, you know what? I'm just guessing things anyway. All right. Screw it. Not important. All right. Okay. So let's go back to what we were doing here. Sorry about that. Froze and yeah, like I said, I can't really guarantee any more freezes, but I'll do my best. So it's been like that for most of the semester, so I bet on even Zoom meetings they'll probably still do the same thing. So whatever, no problem. In any case, let's go ahead and talk about each part here. We said what? What is an unknown quantity? We call that x. All right. Is, let's talk about the next part here, which is is. Is means equals. So is means equals. Okay. That's the next part there. Okay. After that, we have the percentage there of, say, 200%. Now, 200% here specifically, what we want to do, like I mentioned here before, and this is talking about the key here, we want to always convert the percentage into decimal. We always want to convert the percentage into decimal. All right, so that's going to be the most important part here. Always convert the percentage here into decimal. All right. And then finally, we have the word of. All right. Of here, even though it's a very mundane word, has a very important meaning in mathematics. Of means to multiply. Or again, the times symbol there. So when you see the word of in a word problem here, of actually means multiplication in mathematics. So the way we want to look at this here carefully is we want to break this down appropriately. And the way we break this down appropriately is we say what, which is x, is, which is equals. So what x sure. So here we have what. All right, let me check that here. This and this. Okay, perfect. All right. So we have what, which is x, is equals 200%. Now 200% as a decimal is going to be 2. Okay, again, that's from our 200% here. And we move that over 2 spots to the left. That's going to be 2. Times, that's of $63. So notice I didn't really focus on the 63 part here. Instead, I just focused on the first 4 parts and broke it down one piece at a time. And all I have to do here is now just do 2 times 63, and I'm going to get my final answer here. So 2 times 63 is going to be 126. And that's our final answer for this problem. Okay, now what I'd like you to do next here is I'd like you to let's try letter C here together, okay? Let's try letter C here together. What is 300% of 32 people? So can anybody tell me, how would we set up this problem here first? So before we solve for this, finding the answer is nice and all, but how do we set up this problem here first? Like I said, Patricia, that's important. I want to know the setup, though. That's the answer to the problem here, Patricia. I agree. But can you tell me? There we go. That's what I want to see. Okay. All right. So I want to see the x also included here. Okay. I want to see the x. So yes, 3 times 32 is correct, but I would like the x equals part also put in there. It's very important that we put the x equals part put in there because of the fact that in a lot of other word problems we're going to want to put the x in its proper place when we see the words say what number or what percent or whatever, to focus on where we're going to put that x. So here we see if that works. Okay, hopefully this works okay. Let's cross my fingers here. Let's cross my fingers here that doing that will hopefully fix issues. All right. Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. I wish it was a bit better. So I may need to upgrade my computer again. So maybe I'll have to figure it out. But that's a me problem, not a you problem. So don't worry, I'm going to get through this lesson regardless though. I already have plans. So, all right. All right. So that's why, again, let's go over this fact here. 3 times 32, and again, we have x is equal to 96. All right, so 96 is not, I have Comcast. It's like the best one in my area. I know, I probably should switch at some point, though. Maybe I'll fire them. All right. What times do I go live? I go live Monday through Thursday. You can check the schedule tab on my page, on my channel page, about the times though, because they vary quite often from Monday through Thursday. They're not consistent, so you can see my schedule there. Okay. All right. Yeah. Again, apologies about the streaming stuff. I always try and get this right, but it never works out for me. So I'm not in the best crazy place, but it's okay. It is what it is. All right. So 300% of 32 people, we did 3 times 32. X is equal to 96, and we're in good spaces, good places. All right. No problem, Big Daddy. All right. Okay. Now, so that's talking about 200, 300% and whatnot. So again, interpreting the word problems here is going to be incredibly important. So please make sure that you have these guys in mind here. This is kind of one of the most important parts here of today's lesson. We're going to see these 4 parts here in other types of problems in other sections. You're going to see this quite a lot more. So be sure you know how to interpret the problem here. Be sure you know how to put those pieces together. That's definitely going to be a thing. Okay, so let's talk about this next part here. Okay, they do talk about 50%, 10%, and 1%. So let's talk about this here just a little bit. So it says 50% means, let's say, 50 parts of 100 parts, or which is basically half the parts. Now, one of the problems here is we think about half, okay? We think about half, and that's perfectly fine when we think about 50%. But another way to talk about 50% is I want to keep things consistent. So I technically don't really use the fraction part if I'm actually writing out the work. Instead, I want to look at 50% as 0.5 as the decimal equivalent. So if I look at 0.5 as the decimal equivalent, this is, in a sense, again, 50%. The reason why I want the decimal equivalent, why I always think of the decimal equivalent, even though it's half, is because of the fact that if I'm doing actual calculations here and I want to write it out, well, I want to keep it the same way that we did in the last few problems, is write the decimal equivalent of the percentage that we're using. So you'll see if I'm writing stuff out here, I'm going to keep it as 50%. However, like 10% here, for example, is 0.10, okay? Or 1% can be written as 0.01 as an example here, okay? So for us here, if we're talking about what is 50% of 24 hours, okay? Now, what I want to reflect here is, although it's very simple to reflect, 50% of 24 hours, it's not that hard to really figure out. What I would like you to do here is we can also do mental math that goes with this. So we know how to set this up here specifically. Setting this up here specifically isn't too hard, but we can also take some mental math shortcuts if we need to, if we can, uh, in order to solve for some of these problems. So the things I'm going to list here, at least in the text, is going to be some mental math approaches in order to do these in a much shorter fashion. But at least we have the backup here. We know how to interpret these, straight up from the previous examples that we just talked about here. So for mental math here, so for 50%, then we just go ahead and do the same exact thing here. For 50%, we take half of the amount, okay? So for mental math's sake, for 50%, we take half of the amount here. That's going to be for mental math's sake. So in this case here, if we want to set this up using our word problems here, we would say what, which means x, is, which means equals, 50%, this is just writing it out, is 0.50, of means times, and 24. Now, if you did the mental math here, again, you would have half of the amount, which is half of 24. So mental math would say half of 24 is 12. Okay, something akin to that. Okay, not too hard, but again, one of those things that you could do as a mental math thing. However, again, if the number's more complicated, let's say it's like, 396, maybe it is easier to do 0.50 times 396 because doing that mental math may be very difficult for you to do. So maybe with bigger numbers, it just is more complicated. So I want to give you as many outs as possible. Maybe one time you try and do it in your head. If it's too hard, write it out and then see what you get. Okay, so alternate paths, always very helpful. If you could do it the short way, fine. You can do it the short way in your head. But if you can't, no problem. There's always an alternate route. Okay, so hence why I'm pointing it out that way. Okay, let's do, are there any questions about that before we move forward? I just want to be sure that everybody understands where I'm coming from there. Any questions about that? Okay. All right. All right. Now, what about 10%? How do we do mental math with 10%? So let's talk about mental math here with 10%. So mental math for 10%. So for 10% here, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to move the decimal place to the left by 1. So by 1 place. So we want to move the decimal place to the left. I guess I'll just say by 1. So we'll move the decimal place over to the left by 1, and that's going to reflect 10% of the amount here. So if we took a look at this example here, again, if we interpreted this approximately here, we have x is equal to 0.10 of, which is times 280. But if I did the mental math here, I could take 280, and all I have to do is, again, I just move it to the left by 1 decimal place. So again, I just move it over here, whoop, over by 1. And so here I get 28 as a result. So, and that's going to be my answer for this problem, is x is equal to 28. But if you want to do it in your head, move it over by 1 to the decimal place, excuse me, to the left by 1, and you should be good to go. Now, how about 1% here? Let's focus on that part. Now, the mental math part here is for 1%, we want to move the decimal place to the left, to the left, to the left by 2. Okay, so in this case here, we're going to move 2 places to the left of the amount that we're given here. All right, for our mental math portion. Again, if you want to write it out, like I said, that's perfectly fine. So here we have x equals 0.01 times 540. And so here we're going to start off with, if you just kind of want to write out your mental math, that's fine too. We're just going to start off over here to the right, and we go 1, 2, 2 decimal places here to the left. So in actuality, we end up with $5.40. So that's how we can do a little bit of mental math here. That's exactly how you figure that out without really having to punch stuff in the calculator. Again, if you want to try that out, then those are nice little neat little tricks you can certainly use for, say, 50%, 10%, and 1% respectively. Are there any questions about that? Okay, cool. Coordinate geometry, like second here. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Okay. All right, next. What I want to do here is have you guys give some of these problems a try, now that you know exactly how to deal with them. So I want you to try letter B, letter C, and letter E. Okay, I want you to try letter B, C, and E. All right, so letters B, C, and E here. And so I'll give you a minute or two here. Once you have some answers there, go ahead and post that in the chat. All right, so let's go ahead and give these a go here. Make sure you get these down here. Okay. All right, 32, 385, 2.4. Okay. All right. I see some good answers there. Looks like everybody's got those same answers. That's really good. That's really, really, really good. Liking what I'm seeing. All right. Let's go ahead and see what you guys got here. It's been a little bit of time, so that's perfectly fine. So what is 50% of 64 tweets, for example? Okay, so again, we say what is. So we have x is equal to 0.5. Again, the decimal equivalent of 50% of 64. So again, we think of half of 64 here. So that's 32 tweets. Okay, no problem. Here's a fun fact for you. I've only ever made one tweet on Twitter. Ever. So, just one. I do have a Twitter account, and I only have one tweet on it. That's it. That's one more than me. I wanted to react to some stock news, and I'm like, okay, I want to tweet about this. Sounds cool. And I'm like, eh. All right, letter C here. 10% of 3850. So again, x is equal to 0.10 times 3850. Okay, So here we get, again, if you're doing the mental math here, you did the 3850 here. And again, we move that over to one spot to the left. So here we'll get 385 elm trees here as our answer for X. All right, so all of you got that, no problem. And then here for letter E, what is 1% of 240 feet? Have I invested in Tesla? I've made a majority of my money in Tesla actually. So, yeah, I did, because I do options trading. So, yeah, I've invested money in Tesla before and then took it out and invested money again in Tesla and took it out. So, yeah, it's just kind of like swap money back and forth. I don't do it all the time, obviously, but yeah, I do a lot of I've invested in Tesla before. Yes. If you want to hold on to the stock long term, it's a very good idea. It's about 400. It's over 400 bucks a share, but options are the way to go. I made a bundle of cash off of the off Tesla and a whole bunch of other good investments. So let's just say I made out good this year when it came to trading and stuff. So using mathematics. So 0.01 times 240. Again, and then we go 1 and 2 here to the left. So here what we're going to get is we're going to get exactly 2.4. That's spot on there. All right. All right. Very nice. Any questions about these three examples here so far? Nope. All right. All right. Now the other two percentages here are 25% and 75, but they work the same way. Again, you just have 25% as 0.25 and 75% as 0.75, and then you approach it the same way we have done here for other problems. Okay. Now, I do have one more question here of which to ask. So let me ask this question here really quickly. So I want to see exactly where we're at. Can anybody tell me here? What is 4.5% as a decimal? Anybody tell me what is 4.5% as a decimal? As a 0.045? .045, okay. Anybody else? We got Daniel and Hisa. 4.5% is a decimal. Any other answers here? .045, okay. Over 1,000. I mean, that's how it is as a fraction. All right, this time I didn't do Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. No, Big Daddy, I haven't played Fantasy Premier League. So maybe for next season I will. I just know if I ever do Fantasy Premier League that Paul Pogba will never be on my team. Just saying. All right. So 0.045 is correct. Now, I do want to point out one very important thing here. So I want to give a nice warning here for others who are probably watching this as well. Okay, one word of warning here that 4.5% is not equal to 0.45. Okay, so remember here, you have to move 2 decimal places to the left. Okay, so it is one of the most common mistakes I see on tests is people think it's just 0.45 right away. So you guys picked up on that right away, which is really, really good, and I'm really, really happy to see that. But again, don't fall for that. Don't fall for that at all. Okay, don't fall for the 0.45 here. So it's the same thing as if I had, say, 0.9%. What would 0.9% equal then? What would 0.9% equal as a decimal then? Oh, you fell for it, Hisa. Gotta be careful. Don't fall for it, Pisa. No. 0.09 is 9%. No. Oh no. 0.9%. Come on. I know you guys can do this. 90%? How can 0.9% be 90%? It was already a percentage to begin with. You're going backwards there, Daniel. Remember, move 2 decimal places to the left. It says move 2 decimal places here to the left. That's 0.9%. 0.9%, I want that as a decimal. What's that going to be? This is exactly why I asked these questions here. 0.009%. That is correct. Yes. You see, that's exactly why I asked this question. Because you get 1 and 2, and then you're like, okay, 0.009 is going to be the decimal equivalent. That is correct. All right. So this is exactly the reason why I asked this question here, because we fall into that trap. That trap is, let's just move it on one spot because it looks close enough. And be like, no, no, no. We want to move 2 decimal places here to the left. This is our big guy right here. Yeah, I just have a. I know. That's exactly why I asked that question, because I see that mistake every single time. And that is the biggest trip up here when it comes to percentages. It's just that interpretation. So I know exactly that's the thing that I think a lot of people have trouble with. But I want to make extra super duper clear that we know how to interpret that now the proper way. Yeah, there's Maestro. There's no links there in the chat. I don't put links there in the chat. So I think I have it set it up that way. So it's nothing against you. I think I just. Nothing against you or anyone. That's just how it is. So All right, any questions about that? Any questions about this section, I guess is the question. No? Okay, perfect. All right, so that's going to take care of section 6.1 here for today. Hopefully we'll get through 2 more sections here for next time. I'll be posting the test here later today, so I'm going to be working on that this afternoon. But in the meantime, I hope everybody has a nice, safe, happy, and healthy weekend. All right. I'm going to continue staying here on the stream here to answer any further questions. I know Big Daddy has been waiting very patiently for me to answer his question about graphing, so I'm going to answer that there. But in the meantime, all of you who are here for Matho 90, I want to wish you a very happy and healthy and safe weekend. And we're going to see you on Tuesday. On Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday. All right. All right. You guys have yourself a very happy one. All right. Take care of yourselves. All right. And we will see you later, everybody. Have a great one. All right. Take care, you guys, in my Math 90. Have a great one. See you guys. Bye. Ask a few more questions here. Have a good weekend, Robert. Have a good weekend, Hisa. Patricia, have a wonderful weekend. Much love to you and your family. Get through this tough time. Hopefully you're there, Big Daddy. You're still there, hopefully. I'll be more than happy to answer your question now. This out of the way.